Ajith bhai, just like you quoted Hindi film song, my this thing is Bandi Mutti Lakh Ki. So less he talks about me, the better off we all are. But first and foremost, my heartiest congratulations to IIP and Dr. Saha as the key representative of the institution. I know how difficult it is to build institutions, and I'm full of admiration for what you've done. Incredible work, 50 years, and to take, institutions in India peter down after a long time. They stabilize, and if anything go down, and to be on a takeoff or even a much higher stage after 50 years is full credit to all of you. And to all the alumni, only two things make an institution, the faculty and the alumni. And my congratulations to all the alumni who have done well. I think it's a matter of great pride. Well done, and keep it up. And to the present students, well, you now carry a responsibility of taking that to even higher, greater heights. So, well done. I think I have the dubious honor of knowing the least about this industry here today. So, I stand before you as a magnificent case of complete ignorance. And, in academia, when you find yourself in that situation, what you do is you tell people that you're bringing a fresh perspective, that you're encouraging them to think out of the box, that you're asking them to do lateral thinking. So I'm going to do what I do, and I leave you to worry about whether it makes sense to you. Have fun. So if I look at India today, or the global industry today, I see three main big challenges, if you like, or opportunities. And you can always look at challenges and opportunities the same way, facing it. One is that we are all becoming transnational. And I choose to use the word transnational instead of global. In fact, this was given to me in 2006 when Ratan Tata came as the graduation day speaker at ISB, and I was talking to him and I said, as a global company, he said, stop, I'm not a global company. I'm a transnational company, because a global, according to him, means you are everywhere. But a transnational one is somebody who is in many chosen outlets, and that's what is really happening to us. For example, we are not in many parts of Eastern Europe or Latin America or Africa, but we are in many cases, although many large multinational companies are truly global. But the point is, even small and medium companies today, whether you like it or not, are transnational. Because your product is being sold or used globally. Your competition is global. Your buyers, people from whom you buy, your suppliers, are many global companies or transnational companies, and therefore, you need to, so especially in the packaging industry, right, where you have this plethora of small print which says what your product is or what your product is not. If you're sending it across borders, you need to worry about legal compliance in a whole lot of different countries. And especially those of you who are, using food and food-related products, I mean, the kind of national challenges that you face in different countries and different standards is itself. So whether you like it or not, your product has to be a global product or a transnational product, both in terms of legal compliance and in terms of quality. Second thing that being transnational does is it imposes on you the multinational or transnational process standards. You can no longer say, in India we do it this way, if it's tomorrow, it's day after. In Hyderabad we say parso, which can mean anything. I realized it to my utter surprise that parso has pretty infinite, that's when we get almost metaphysical in our thing. But you can't do that in a global business. And the more important thing, which many of us forget, is culture. When you work across national boundaries, you need to have an ability to adapt to the cultures of those countries. And that is an area where in the past we as a nation have had both strengths and challenges. So that's first, that we all face an issue and challenge which is transnational. And every company today has the challenge of adapting to it and the opportunity, therefore, to be global. If you look at India, pharmaceutical companies and auto parts companies have truly become multinational. Some of you have become truly multinational in the sense that your packaging and the moment especially pharma gets global, in effect you become, because you put your product or the pharma companies put their products in your packaging. So that's the first big challenge or opportunity. The second one, which is again related to that, is technology. Gone are the days when you could say that I am an SME company and I will therefore use a 20-year-old technology. In fact, if you are an SME, you have a terrific opportunity to use the latest technology which somebody else, because he or she has invested in capital 3 years or 5 years ago, simply cannot do. So you have now a tremendous opportunity and a need to stay ahead of the curve by using the latest technology. And technology is going to be the single biggest differentiator, come what may. And it's happening in your industry. The kind of packaging that you use today, when you compare it with the kind of packaging that you use even 10 or 15 years or 20 years ago, is dramatically different. Right? The thing that only a few companies globally would produce certain products is no longer there. Every single thing, from Tetra Pak to the most food sensitive packaging today, is done in India and done extremely well to global standards, right? So technology and its most effective use, also technology helps you to cut costs drastically and dramatically, and therefore again use of technology is becoming. By the way, there is a different, at least in many factors, and some of you are plastics, and I remember this almost 13-14 years ago. We were talking to a company. I was a freelancer in those days. I'd just come back to India, and I was talking to this company which had some plastic lines, and they had 3 lines, 10,000 meters, 20,000 and 30,000, so total capacity of 60,000 meters. And their competitors were companies in the US and China, which made 1 million meters. Now you can think of the challenges. But what this Indian company did was that they used the management capability and the research capability of Indians to therefore focus on low size but high value products. So food packaging, specialized food packaging, or specialized any kind of packaging, right? So the opportunity for us in India in technology is to actually use to our advantage our small size and nimble capability. The fact that we have outstanding technologists who can quickly and at very affordable cost come out with new things. The fact that we can use our small capacity for niche markets. So the opportunity for us in India using technology is really perhaps in some cases niche markets, especially for SME sector. And that could be an enormously profitable and beneficial. The other big advantage for all of you, and I'm sure you've all seen it, is the enormous boom in e-commerce. When the good old days when something was packed in large boxes and sent to a retail outlet where you bought one and you put it in a bag and took it, are gone. Today, every single product is packaged and then wrapped. So there is multiple. Every time I order something from Amazon, I think of your industry and how well it must be doing. Because there is an enormous boom of single product packaging, attractive single product packaging. And that has really given, but it's also imposed standards, and increasingly as you'll have, I don't know whether we'll have drone delivery in India and in Hyderabad, But if there are these drone deliveries, then the kind of quality standards and the kind of robustness, etc., that you will have to deal with will be. So again, you go back that, e-commerce creates enormous opportunity, but at the same time, it also puts pressure on you to develop robust, cost-effective, lightweight, cheap, etc. material. And by the way, all of it. One of the good things I find now when I retire is that when I grew up, we could ask somebody a question: what do you want, quality or cost? Today you don't have that option. Today you want quality, attractiveness, price, easy availability, flexible delivery, great service, etc., and few more things, right? So the challenges of doing all of that is going to be enormous, which leads me to the third and the most important factor. So first is that you will be operating transnationally. Second is that you have to use technology. And if you have to do those two things, what you really need is talent, which is what brings us to IIP. And I think it's an enormous responsibility on you, sir, to make that talent available. And making talent available, I was pleased to hear that, you are able to not just place people well, and obviously they are doing very well. But as the industry grows, the big challenge for all of us in education sector is, do I follow the industry or do I go ahead of the industry? Do I make, and we in ISB, for example, took the step that in less than 10 years, we went from 100 to 800 students. And people said, you're mad, because this was after 2009 when the industry had plummeted. And frankly, it was terrible for all of us who had to make sure that we could attract the best students and place them. But we believed that it's our job as an educational institution to have more than adequate talent available to the country and to the industry. Because if you take my alma maters, both the IITs and the IIMs, they have actually done it the other way. They have always been in a rationing situation. So there is always a queue. To me, there should never be a queue of recruiters outside your door. You should be chasing the recruiters, because only then you're going to remain hungry and always see what is it that the recruiter wants, why do they want something better, how can I do. The moment you get into a situation of rationing, you become complacent, you become arrogant, you become lazy. And academic institutions should be anything but that. I know those students sitting there are going to hate me for saying it, and I apologize to you. I know you want your job the easy way, but I promise you that when you have to fight for the job, you will prepare yourself much, much better. Think of the Indian ecosystem. You start studying from 7th standard or 6th standard to get into IIT. Nothing else matters. All that matters is IIT JEE. Then when you're doing your postgraduate, all that matters is CAT exam. Right? So people don't study in IITs or in engineering students because they want that gyan or knowledge. They study because that will give them the boost to the next level. So when there is competition, you always do much better for yourself. And while it's more difficult to get into the kind of job that you wanted, but believe me, that hunger, that working hard will always stand you in good stead. So the challenge in your sector, I think, and it's the entire manufacturing sector, not just the packaging sector, is that in our country today, the manufacturing sector is seen as non-sexy. People want to sit in air-conditioned offices of IT companies or financial services. But with all due respects, IT and financial services are service providers to the manufacturers. And you have to decide whether you are on the buy side or the sell side of life. So, for all of us, and this is equally true for us, how do we enhance the attractiveness of the real sector, as I call it, whether it's construction, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's supplying, it's all these things. is a challenge, and I think all institutions should be together into this thing of really making it attractive. The second thing is the industry itself has a responsibility. I often get frustrated with the, especially manufacturing sector. So, oh, but we are in manufacturing, we can't afford to pay. I'm sorry, you better afford to pay. You better afford to pay for the best talent at the best competitive price. Nobody is here to come to your rescue, because if you can't afford to pay, well, you're going to get poor quality, and that's going to have an impact. How do you make your sector able to pay affordably is the big challenge. And this is where niche markets, making sure that you get into markets where there is enough margins, etc., become extremely important. And I think the industry will have to look at attracting the best possible talent to what I call as the real sector. How do you sell the attractiveness? So I have exactly the same problem, right? Most of my faculty want to live in the US or Singapore, right? So there was a time when there was a professor in US who was earning $230,000, and I offered him $275,000, and I said, come to India. And Singapore offered him $400,000 plus the opportunity to live in Singapore. Now, I can't keep crying that, what can I do? I'm in Hyderabad, he's in Singapore. I have to work hard to find other reasons, other excuses, this thing. So I used to catch their spouses and tell them, what, you can get a driver, you can get 2 servants, there's something, and all your relatives, films, this, that, and the other, but you have to keep trying. So similarly, the manufacturing sector has to work hard to attract the best talent. I am not able to fully see there, but one area where I think especially anything to do with technology and management has not done as well as they should is in gender equality. And that's an opportunity for you. It's ridiculous that this country does not make the fullest use of the woman power that is available in this country. And I think, again, the industry has to really work hard to attract the best women talent. Now, I know that, then people say, oh, but if they're working in a factory environment, is it safe? But that's a responsibility for all of us to create it. So I think there is an opportunity. I don't know what the percentage of women students in your thing is. I'm struggling to take my percentage beyond 30%. And good. Well, I'm very glad. I'm happy that you are, Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. Very good. But then I think 5 years from now, I would like to see many more women sitting in these schools. You simply cannot have 50% women students and not have them represent in the leadership. So I think, there are opportunities. If you want to attract the best talent, you have to look for various different mixes. We, for example, have creches on this thing so that I can attract young women with children. I say, I don't care, so long as you are willing to work, I'm willing to support you in every way I can. So there are many similar things. So these are, to me, these are the 3 big issues, One is transnational, second is technology, third is talent. There is a fourth one, especially in Hyderabad, which is to do with SME sector and especially small family businesses. As many of you reach close to the time that you're more interested in your grandchildren than in your business, the big problem is that your children want to develop an app and become billionaires overnight. Okay? So the question that you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to do about succession? What are you going to do about the continuity of the organization? What is going to happen about the long-term sustainability of your business? And, why are you in the business at all? Okay? So I think there is enormous opportunity. You're perhaps one sector which is going to benefit the most from all the changes that are happening, the quality consciousness that is happening in the world, this miniaturization in terms of each product going, e-commerce, etc., etc., etc. Make the best of it. Have a great career, and more than anything else, be happy, contented souls. Thank you so much.